Hello, welcome to the screencast for Team Rollmops Deliverable 4. So we have our deliverable document right here with our reflections and our meeting notes, and then we're going to get into the diagrams. So since most of the diagrams haven't changed from the last deliverable, and there's so many of them now, I'm actually just going to show that we have the ones from the previous deliverable and then only dig into the new ones in detail, since there are just so many now. So we have our domain class model, our use case diagram, all of our sequence diagrams. And again, these have not changed. Our activity diagram since the last deliverable. We have our system class model. So this one can be hard to see. So what we can actually do is zoom in to 200%, and then we can get a much better picture of this. So that makes it useful to kind of examine this in greater detail. So moving on, we have our personas, which again have not changed. Our UI design, which has not changed. Our operation patterns. And then we get into our communication diagrams. So we'll start with communication diagram 1. So it starts here with the customer trying to book an appointment. And the first thing, well, we have to go through manage appointments. And the first thing that this class does is try to find an appointment with that date and time. And up here we have defined if the appointment is taken, that means the appointment does exist. And if that's the case, then we just go straight to step 9 and telling the customer that the appointment is already taken. And we've defined OK as the appointment not being taken. And if that's the case, we see it's prefixed by OK here in the brackets. The first thing we do after that is we find a staff member that is free on that date. And then we actually create that new appointment object. And then we go through and we add it into the appropriate sets that it should be in. And then we send to the customer that the appointment was successful, and we send it to the staff member that we chose, that they now have a new appointment. All right, so now we have communication diagram 2. Starts out with the veterinarian trying to set up a vet appointment. And again, this goes through manage appointment. And the first thing it does is try to find that vet ID, or try to find that vet using its ID. And then from there, it tries to find the appointment. And we have defined down here, again, that appointment already scheduled means that appointment exists at that date and time. And we've defined OK as that appointment is not already scheduled. So then, if that is the case, we create that new appointment. We create that new object. And then again, we go through and we add it to the appropriate sets. We add it to that vet set of appointments. We add it to manage appointment set of appointments. And then we tell the veterinarian that the appointment creation was successful. If the appointment is already taken, then we go straight to step 7 and tell the vet that the appointment is already scheduled. All right, we get to our last and simplest communication diagram. Customer is just trying to reset their password. And this goes through manage booking. So all we do is we find that customer based on their ID and email, and then we call the function change password on that customer. And then we send back to the customer that new password. And then after we have the communication diagrams here, we get into the implementation class model. And of course, this is based entirely on the communication diagrams. So we can see for each of the classes that show up in the communication diagrams, namely manager appointment showed up a lot. We have defined all the private fields that they need, and then all the public methods that they will need to have implemented. So again, manager appointment is kind of the biggest one. It has all its sets of vets, vet appointments, regular appointments, customers, staff, manage shelter, and then it has all the methods that it will need to have defined that will need to get called. So those the patterns in those communication diagrams can be implemented. All right, so we have the implementation class model. That is it for our diagrams. I do want to touch on the feedback we received from deliverable 3. Almost all of it was saying that our system class model is a little bit difficult to read, basically saying maybe we should look at a little bit different formatting. Unfortunately, we looked at it, and the system class model is always just going to be a little messy just because there's so much information on this page there's so many classes and there's going to be so many connections between those classes. So since most of these reviews didn't really mention anything wrong with what we had, they just said, oh, maybe clean up your system class model a little bit. We didn't end up doing anything based off those reviews. So that is all we have. Thank you for watching.